long as it's strong, and you're never going to see it. Right here, all this just peeled itself off, so the headlight just popped off. I got the headlight. So now we're going to repair this hood. It's got quite a bit of rips and tears on it. The girls actually rolled it in Red Bluff. Honestly, this hood wasn't really fiberglass too well whenever it got repaired previously. I mean, even the bumper's about to fall off. Also, the headlight right here, all this just peeled itself off, so the headlight just popped off. I got the headlight, so I put it right back on. I cut this all out and put new fiberglass on it. So, and it wasn't me that did this. Chill. But what I do is I'm going to scratch all this, probably here wide, get all that decent thickness of fiberglass there, cut this all out, all the bad stuff. I mean, look at that. Fix that. All this. So we're going to scratch all the underneath, reinforce with a fiberglass layer underneath, and then on top is when I start to bondo stuff like this. And then before you know it, it is looking like brand new again. I don't know if I have a clip of my previous body repair, but if I do, I'll put it here because I don't think I'll get this done, but in a few days I'll be here. Alright, had to go to Ace to get some more fiberglass resin. You can also get your resin at your local Walmart, Ace Hardware, Advance, I guess. Bondo, I wouldn't get the Bondo brand Bondo. It's not as good. But anyways, here it is. Here's what I got done so far. Little patches, the headlights on, grill, but gonna finish the rest now that I got more resin and keep on going. We got our fiberglass resin right here, the Bondo brand. This stuff is a little tedious because the warmer the temperature is in the room, the better it works. If it's probably 65 and under of a day, it doesn't harden as quick. Anyways, this is your resin, and once again, if you're gonna do Bondo work, I would not get the Bondo brand. I guess they call it body filler instead of the word Bondo if you're not used to the word. But there's probably the amount of resin I need to finish what I need left at the moment. This is the hardener it comes with. Usually I wear latex gloves, but I ran out. So sprinkle whatever I feel is enough. Now this is just monster truck body, so it's not as precise as doing an automotive vehicle. So don't do this as long as it's strong, and you're never going to see it because all we're doing is reinforcing the underside of where all the exposed or cracks are on this hood. So we stir that. Now I learned to use this, can't even think of the word right now, a paint tray, a year ago, and I thought it was a neat idea because you don't use as much resin because, let me show you. For example, this piece, you get it on here and then you dab it against here and the whole thing gets soaked and you don't gotta worry about pouring a bunch of resin on top of it. Saves a lot of resin, and your resin, you can end up making what you have last a little longer because you have the exact quantity you need. Doing it this way, do a little bit up here just because that's how I feel. And fairly evenly coated, but I'll sprinkle a little more in a minute. And then sticks on pretty nice. There's no excess draining of resin going everywhere doing it this way. So it's a lot cleaner of a way in my opinion. I'm not saying whatever way you do it is wrong or anything, but someone thinks this is a neater idea, which like I did. Then there you go. You see another way how to do it. So there's probably people watching this, maybe in the monster industry, that can even give me some tips, because you know, I'm just doing what my common sense tells me, and at the end of the day I know I gotta make it work, so I will not fail. Basically, if it makes sense to you, go for it. You'll come out just fine. And you just lay it over. And like I said, it's a little ugly right now, but this is all about strength. Then, once it gets hard, then that's when I flip this over, and the rest is all Bondo work, which is basically a paste that hardens, and then you can sand down to whatever shape the hood, bedside, whatever it is, and make it look like one solid piece again once you're done sanding it. But hopefully I get to show you guys that later. If not, I'll patch together some videos from the past that pretty much finishes this demonstration. I typically like to just cover the amount of hole or crack with the smaller piece first, if I can grab it. So this is fairly narrow. I'll cover this just enough. Then I'll cover it with this wider piece. Get this on there. Alright. Please note that I kind of scuff it up so that way it has a new and also a little bit of a rougher surface for the fiberglass to stick on. Then you want to clean out the area that you scratched up so that way there's no dust getting into there. I wish I had a little nozzle that can air blow it out, but couldn't find one here in the shop, so I just rag cleaned the areas before I added the fiberglass. And just a quick note, a lot of people do this in the monster industry, is they use popsicle sticks with some zap screws, self-tappers, whatever you call them, to kind of keep the hole, keeps everything where it is so it doesn't move, especially if you got something that's split. You want to keep it flat and tight. And then I cover this with tape. Doesn't matter what tape, but preferably masking tape, so that way the resin won't go through and drain all over the good paint that you're not really going to need to touch up. Or unless you're doing a full paint repair, then go for it. But alright, hello, good morning everyone. Today it is sanding day, Bondo work and all of that. So all the fiberglass is dry. Gotta trim some of the excess, but that don't matter right now. So now we flip this thing over and do pure Bondo work. Alright, so now we can remove all the supports that help tie this together so we can put fiberglass on it. And this is a piece of Lexan I use. Some areas have popsicle sticks. Anyways, take this out. These are self-tappers. I call them zap screws. Or the political correct way, self-tapping screws. Okay, remove tape. Get this out. There you go. Alright, so you see it's one solid piece. This corner broke off, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of valley this a little bit. Can't think of a word I want to use right now, but yeah, I'm going to scratch this so it kind of valleys, V's in there a little bit. Sand this area lightly so the Bondo can stick to it a little bit better. Yeah, you get Bondo, you just do that with your Bondo. Let it dry 5 to 15 minutes depending on how much hardener you put on it or the brand. And then you sand and sand and sand and repeat it until you feel like it is one solid smooth piece of body again. And we can also do this covering the holes as well. Cover the holes with Bondo, sand and sand, and it's like the holes are never there. Alright, so here's an orbit sander. This is a Velcro pad style. This is 120. I start out with that, and then I kind of work my way higher. I have to go to Ace Hardware and get some new sanding pads. This is the Velcro style. Depends on what you got, but I'm starting out with 120 as far as sanding the Bondo, and then I'm going to finish it off with sanding with 220, and that should be good enough. Once the Bondo's all sanded, and the 220 will not only just sand the Bondo areas, but also the rest of the body, so the whole body can have a fresh coat of paint. That is as smooth as I get it, to then we can start painting it. Alright, so now we're going to Bondo this, or body filler as it's technically called. But there is a Bondo brand fiberglass resin, Bondo brand fiberglass cloth, and all that. But I would not get the Bondo brand body filler because when you put it on, it hardens just fine, but I noticed it gums up the sandpaper really fast, and it also takes a long time to sand down the way you want. This stuff works a lot better, eats up away a lot easier. So this is anything but the Bondo brand so far is what I like for body filler. Every body filler comes on the top with hardener. You can see it right there. So here's the hardener. It looks like a kind of like a Play-Doh paste compared to the fiberglass resin hardener. But yeah, so here we go. All you need to really mix this is as simple as a piece of cardboard, and you can dig out the Bondo with a popsicle stick. I'm probably being way too specific in this video, but I'm just thinking if there's people that were like me when they started. I didn't start Monstrucks until I was 19. Didn't know a single thing. But now, being gone 10, 11 months out of the year, doing this for almost 5 years, catching up finally to people that have grown up around hands-on stuff. So, oops. Anyways, so there's my little bit of Bondo right there. Okay. By the way, when you use your squeegee, once it hardens, you can literally just pick it off, and it comes right off. See that? So let me take a second and clear this out. Now, this is your hardener. I got one that's not finished, so I use that. So pour some hardener across the top, like so, and a little more. And you start to stir. Okay, see that? Hopefully the camera can pick it up, but it's more of a light blue color instead of a white colored Bondo. The hardener made it turn blue. So now, get some of this. See if the camera can get this. Now I apply it. So let's do it right here. Don't be cheap with it either. This stuff sands pretty easily, spreads easily, so you'll get a lot with a little bit. Look at these holes right here. This is how you cover a hole. Right there. Alright. A little rough looking. My squeegee was a little too rough, so I grabbed a new one. But you kind of got to be quick with it, because once you add the hardener, it kind of gets a little tacky within a couple minutes. You got to apply it pretty quick. No worries, sands pretty quick, so I'm going to sand it. It probably takes 5 to 15 minutes for it to dry, depending on how much hardener you put. Sometimes it takes longer, but usually that's the range that it hardens for me. So yeah, we'll sand that. We'll get the orbit sander. I will stick with my 120 and just sand it down. And if it doesn't seem smooth enough, then I'll keep adding more Bondo over and over again until I feel like it's smooth, like the rest of this body. It contours with it. Alright, now look at this. This sticks up past the body. Yeah, I probably could have done this ahead of time, but doesn't matter to me really, because I put a lot of fiberglass underneath. So now I can grind this with the flapper disc so it's flush, and then the rest is all Bondo work, and it all look just like the rest of this body, all smooth once the Bondo is sanded. Same here. Gonna eat this all up with a flapper disc, and we'll get going. Alright, obviously you don't want to do the fiberglass work in the shop, but did a little bit of Bondo so far. Let that dry real quick, and then I'll make another batch in a minute to do the rest. Sand it. If I need to put more, I'll put more. If it's fine and looks even, oh man, it wasn't even dry yet. If it's fine and looks even, then I... Alright, we just got about all the patches done and flush. Now just gotta do a little bit of trimming here and there, but that's pretty much it. All we gotta do left is paint it. However, that's not gonna be till a little while because it's super cold out, but at least we got this body ready and repaired for painting. And I just gotta do the bumper, so I'll do that later, but that's pretty much it. That's all it takes to do this type of work. Really easy. I mean, the camera probably doesn't show it, but this is super smooth. And there you go. That's what it takes. But this is ready to be a spare for the Gross Brothers for 2023. All they got to do is scuff it up, the whole thing, and then they get to paint it. Pretty late, so I'll do that tomorrow. But other than that, I'd say we've accomplished this. And that is how you repair. That's how you fiberglass and repair a body. If you're a team that fully wraps their truck, then you're pretty much done the way it is now.